Every woman deserves to feel vibrant, safe, loved, and feel her power. The Woman's Vibrancy Code podcast is here for a potent use of your time. We will cover energy, hormones, and libido with episodes that also dive into entrepreneurship, money mindset, feminine power, and much, much more. Introducing Maraya Brown, Yale and functional medicine trained women's health expert, midwife, mom, and entrepreneur.
All right. We're live. We're officially live. Now it will be on the podcast. It will be in the Facebook groups, and we get to grace women with Miss Linda Evenden and really talk about feminine power, honoring our journey, honoring our health. I want you to really hear this because Linda has had tremendous impact in her life thus far. And I know that the impact will only become more grand. So she's a wife, a mom, a coach, not a couch, a coach, and an entrepreneur.
I like the couch.
After this, we will go sit on our couch.
Yes.
And she is an entrepreneur. Linda leads a global team of thousands that generates over $16 million in sales annually. Linda's passion is helping people supercharge their dreams with heart and courage to live their best life. Linda is CEO and founder of Heart Driven Women, which I'm sure you'll learn a little bit more about as we chat. For me, it's this evening. For those of you in Australia, it's this morning.
We're in the future here, Maraya. We're like Marty McFly, you know.
All right. What's it like in the future, Linda?
Yes, it's bright. It's bright and sunny.
Oh, good. Well, the good news is it's actually bright and sunny here as well. So how spectacular that it could be bright and sunny in the past and bright and sunny in the future at the same time. Linda's CEO, founder of Heart Driven Women. She lives on the Gold Coast in Australia and with her husband, James, of 18 years, 3 kids, and 2 dogs. All right. Bio's done. Hi.
Hi.
We're pulling this off, and I'm really looking forward just to seeing where the conversation goes. Obviously, on camera, we've already realized some friends that we have in common and path that we have in common, and trusting that this will evolve. And we're going to talk about exactly what women need to hear.
Yes.
So my first question for you is, what does it feel like to make the kind of impact in the world that you've made?
Oh, that's a beautiful question. It's one, you know what, to just dive straight into honesty. I don't often take enough time to really receive on that and go, wow, great job. Mm-hmm. You know, part of my MO is, you know, what's next, how to make it better, how to, you know, create more. And the dance for me right now in my late 40s is to slow down and enjoy more of the now. So it's a question I have not contemplated for, I don't even know. So this is already fun. It's not a typical question. It feels guided, it feels grace-filled, and it feels on path. It definitely feels, I have immense gratitude. When I really go there and just go into that heart space, I feel honored. I'm very honored to have witnessed the stories, to have witnessed the brave, beautiful, courageous souls. I have the same passion as you. It's to see women shine. And often it's our own journey that we start unfolding in our own story, and then we expand, and then we feel better and we do better. And then we want to share that. Once we get better at filling our own cup and acknowledging ourselves and moving along in the journey, then I think as nurturers, that we want to share that. We want others to feel the same. We want that connection. Yeah. So I think, you know, on reflection, I was after connection to love and be part of many different stories. That's just been in my DNA for a long time, to learn and pass it on. In fact, I remember even buying a really beautiful table book back in uni, maybe when you weren't in buying table books, you know, and it was called Learn and Pass It On. And I thought, what a great title for a book. And it's been one of my mantras in life, that you learn more that you share and teach, you know, the law of input and output. The more that I can have input to me and feel deeply grateful and honored to receive, I've found myself in extraordinary situations where I pinch myself and I say, it's amazing to be in this room witnessing it right now. What do I need to do with this? Where do I need to go with this? And I've always trusted that inner guidance.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, being able
so
to.
there's a few things that I heard. Number one is, oh gosh, do I really allow myself to feel the celebration of the impact? So many of us, it's like we're perpetually moving the goalpost. And to honor and really feel excited over time, to feel connected to the stories of the impact, but to really also settle in and take a pause in celebration. And so when you allow yourself to be in that energy of celebration, what I heard was grace-filled, on path, honored.
Yes.
And so I imagine over time, I mean, $16 million a year in sales, that's no joke. In a large organization, there must have been moments where it didn't feel grace-filled or didn't feel on path and didn't feel honored.
Oh, for sure. So many moments. I guess early on, I had great mentors that were already probably more at the stage that I'm at now. They're just grounded in a knowing, more of the observer to go, oh, yeah, this is how this plays out. This has happened. Oh, I've experienced that. Here's what I did. And just the storytelling, like in all great cultures that stand the test of time, all great businesses, anything, that is legacy fueled, that is there way before us and way after us. And we are, kind of pieces along the way. I had a deep sense of that I had mentors that were world-class and that were deeply grounded and not much fazed them. And I loved that. And I took security and comfort from that. And it was almost like I could have my moments of the big ups and downs. And I love how Tony Robbins teaches the business arc and the leadership arc. And it's just like life. We start out as newborn babies and we need intensive amount of attention. Like we can't do anything for ourselves. And then we move to toddler, which is hectic. You need a lot of supervision and you know how to parent a toddler when you have the expectations of they're a toddler. Right now, I'm in teen world. I have 3, a 12, a 14, and a 16-year-old. And every day I have to remember teens are going to teen. Dogs are going to bark. Cats are going to meow. And, new leadership is going to be in a teenage phase and before they become young adults. And they're going to test all the boundaries and they're going to resist the status quo and they're going to say, I can do so much better than this. And, I'm reinventing the wheel and the breakaway that happens. And so a lot of the business journey, it really can be understood through that. I love the framework of the arc that toddlers are going to be toddlers. Yes. Teenagers are going to be teenagers and young adults are going to be young adults. And then prime, which is what I became really obsessed with. Because I loved the concept. Prime is when everything is in alignment, when the energy is there, when 1 + 1 = 3, when this is, an incredible collection of everyone has their seat on the bus and everyone knows where they're going and there's respect and there's, the admiration and there is the honoring of each what that brings to the table. Yeah. And so part of that journey of frustration at times was I was always comparing against prime when I was a teenager or when I was a toddler or when I was a young adult and wanting prime. But you can't wish for it. It's experiential. You have to ride all of the waves. You have to find how to enjoy the top of the roller coaster and the way down and the way up and seasons. Yeah. Seasons and phases has helped me because if I'm in winter, I have to honor that I'm in winter and I can observe and see others are in summer and I can observe and honor those who are in autumn. And I can't change it. I can't fight with it. What I can do is work with the leverage and the benefits of each season and the opportunities of each season.
Oh, I love it. So I'm hearing that in those moments where maybe it didn't feel so grace-filled, it didn't feel on path, it didn't feel like there was total honoring, you surrounded yourself with tremendous world-class mentors.
Yeah.
And that were already in the next chapter up of this arc.
They were prime, or it doesn't sound very nice in the business arc. It's prime, and then it's aging, and that's where you have to keep innovating at aging, and then it's geriatric.
Oh, boy.
So, we see this in businesses that if, 50, 60, 70-year-old businesses, they have to stay in innovation so they don't go from aging to, geriatric and then institutionalized where they can't change and won't change, and then they have to fold.
And the other thing that I heard was the pain of comparisonitis.
Oh, yeah.
And
impatience.
Right.
Radical impatience is what I had. And I always think that our gift is also our devil a lot of the time. It's our Achilles heel, because one of my gifts is, I'm a bit like Veruca Salt. Like, I want it now. I can
Daddy,
see,
I want
feel
it
it.
now.
Yeah. So I look back and I see when I was brattish, but what I really needed was the reassurance and a safe place to be a brat. Mm-hmm. Not for long, but just a container to be, it's going to be okay. Just take a breath. Mm-hmm. Fire yourself today and rehire yourself tomorrow. Just close the door, have the moment, have some chocolate, and come on back in. Yeah. And working with women who are just, we're the storm, we're the rainbow, we're the fire, the energetic, we can't be contained. So we have to flow in that. So working with women, it's helping women harness the energy in the right way and at the appropriate times.
Yes. Just today, as an entrepreneur, I was this week having some growing pains. I could say that. And I was having a conversation with a lawyer, and it's like, you know what? People told me, it's like my children. I can tell you, don't touch the stove. It's hot. But really, if they touch the stove, they're really going to experience that the stove is hot. And I watched myself in that this week going, you know what? I was told the stove was hot. I played with it anyway. And now I get to feel what it's like. And I take this, and what I know to be true is every setback is the setup.
Yes.
And to be in that place of gratitude of, I'm learning so much. Yes. And how phenomenal that I'm learning it now at this stage of entrepreneurship.
Yes.
Knowing that at the next stage, it's going to be something different, but at least this lesson hopefully won't have to be learned again.
Yes. The other thing that I realized in that is now you have a story around this. Mm-hmm. So when another entrepreneur or part of your team or community comes to you, maybe facing this same challenge, you can go, I remember when I just couldn't be told, and some things you just need to experience. Right. It's 3D. You're not going to be told. And that's the teenager. We can't tell them. They're geared physiologically, emotionally, spiritually to separate and go risk and cut ties with us and set themselves up. And part of that is pushing boundaries, but it's necessary.
Yeah.
You can't skip the stage.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I absolutely. And so we're talking about entrepreneurship. I'm wondering, can you just tell the listeners that are listening that don't know Linda Evenden? There's lots of people who do know Linda Evenden. But for those that don't, can you tell a little bit about what it is that you've done as an entrepreneur and how you've served and what industries you've been in? Just kind of give us a little snapshot.
Yeah. I started in the corporate world for Australia's biggest telecommunications company. And I just had great mentors. I just always loved and had so much respect for those that had gone before me who could teach me. I was always looking for the shortcuts of, modeling. And I went to university. I did all the right things. And I was convinced that I wanted to be in public relations, and communication has always been my thing. And I didn't go in the traditional route. I remember just even early on, not taking no for an answer was an important part of my journey unfolding. because I just kept contacting the PR department and saying, I'll come in and do all the stuff that you don't want to do. I'll make your coffee. I will be your gopher. I'll be indispensable. I don't want any money. I understand there's not a position there for me, but I just want to learn the craft. And I promise I'm not going to get in the way. I will find a way to add value. And I remember the first interview, she was kind of like, there's not a job here. I'm confused by this. And I'm like, trust me, like, what's one example of something that you've been meaning to work on, but you haven't got around to it. It's low priority. And she's like, oh, I need to be put into the awards. Like, can you do that for me? And so the minute that I had this project, sure enough, 2 weeks in, they're like, okay, we're going to pay you. Come in for 20 hours a week while you're studying and keep doing this stuff. And when I look at that, that has served me the most about how to add value more than most people want to. And there'll always be a place for you. Show up to serve and add value and be the person who is giving, the go-giver. And I am not even sure where that came from, but I didn't want to go to university again to do another degree. I was doing arts and science, and already a double degree. I didn't want to go and do a PR degree. And actually, I tried to get into it as a mature student and got to the final interview and was told no. And that just was my fuel. No was my fuel. Well, I'm going to go around a back door. I'm going to go around another one. So coming in there, I was there for nearly 8-9 years. And what I realized, and I know that a lot of women may resonate with this part of my story, I got to probably the top level, the third highest level in leadership at a fairly young age, maybe 23. And back then I was obsessed. I thought money equals success, and I needed a 6-figure income faster than anyone else. I was competitive. It was very masculine. It was very driven and quite exhausting. And I could already recognize the exhaustion that I was feeling. But my identity to success, and then I'll be loved, and then I'll be enough, was so strongly tied to income. Mm-hmm. And in fact, I didn't know even who I was without that. So I had this pretty dramatic realization after going to a Tony Robbins seminar, where I realized I first saw masculine and feminine energy, and had a framework to begin to understand the many roles and hats and changes that I was experiencing over the day. So I would wake up in my normal feminine state, be totally in love with my partner, and he would drop me off to the building. And then it was almost like, whew, it was almost just like manning up and armor on and stomping in my power suit, and then just being like, right, I'm going to be here, just taking names, and I know how to boss. I know how to overpower and boss and play in the big league. And that wasn't my home base. That's not my natural source of energy. So doing that for 9, 10, 11 hours a day, and I was there before everyone else and after everyone else. Now I realize it's the gap that I had to prove more if I was a female. But I remember one moment that I couldn't deny, just being exhausted and thinking, there's 3 females that have higher positions than me, that I think that I want their job. Like, this is the path that I've been told. And I don't like them. I don't respect them. I don't want the job. And I wouldn't even be their friend. And I just had this little mini identity crisis of, now what? Mm-hmm. I've just had blinkers on for so many years. Now what? What am I if I'm not that? And my body, in her infinite wisdom, just took me out with a mystery flu, which turned out to be chronic, adrenals. The mystery flu turned into uncontrollable crying, and then so much anxiety I couldn't leave the house. Mm. And it was a pivotal time because my mother had been in and out of hospital with depression, anxiety, multiple diagnoses. And just at this crucial time, I thought, well, this is my DNA. This is going to happen to me too. Like, it's already happening. And in one sense, here's the girl that can take over the world. And then here's this other girl who is screaming to be heard, who is saying, we can't even leave the house. Mm-hmm. Like, enough. So that was my first ground zero. But I realized, stripping back everything, going to a health retreat for a week eating nothing but good green, whole food, detoxing, colonics, wheatgrass, Udo's oil, like the works. My photo of before and after in that week was unbelievable. I arrived, on antidepressants, scared, not even knowing my place, lost my voice, to coming out the other end. And I had this beautiful moment where Tony Robbins came up to me. He put his giant hand right here on my chest, and it was just like the voice of God to me at that moment, because I certainly had him up on a huge pedestal at that time. But he said, "This is who you are. Take a photo and tell everyone what's happened for you this week." And it's kind of like your first question of acknowledging. I still wasn't even acknowledging, but that moment got me to acknowledge, this is powerful stuff. I'm thinking differently. I'm believing differently, and I have a whole new possibility. When he said, tell the world what's happened, I took that to heart, and I never went back to corporate. I was then like, an evangelist for whole food after that. Like, it can save your life. Drink green juice, it brought me back to my heart. And then a lot of people don't want to be told drink green juice, right? So that was, it took me on another path. And then we owned our own businesses. We worked in wine. We lived in America for a few years. And then I butted up against the same thing. I found myself wanting to achieve and strive, but not being fulfilled. Going for dollars because of the great opportunity, and then not being happy with that. Going, I don't know if selling our wine kits is deeply fulfilling. Am I making an impact here?
Yes.
I'm not seeing the stories, and people are not lit up around me. There was this undeniable, and I think a lot of women go through that when you have two voices, and there's the heart's song, which is telling you, not this way. That's what I think anxiety and depression are, just not this way. They're gentle signs guiding us of not this way, go back. It's like when you go the wrong way up the highway and you get a reminder of come back to self, consolidate, and let's move in a different direction. Is the nudge for me of mental health. So I know when I begin to get off path, it's that old story of success, money, then I'll be enough, then I'll be loved.
Yeah. One of my coaches says, often in the money conversation, we think that money is going to offer safety. Like once I have this much, then I'm safe. Then I know my bills are paid. Then what happens if the money goes away? Are you no longer safe? Yes. So what I'm hearing is if instead you were on this journey of looking for fulfillment, looking for finding your sacred way, so that you could feel success within you. And how ironic that creates great wealth. It created great wealth for you, but not because you were needing or wanting or white knuckling it towards the success.
Yes.
The journey shifted towards fulfillment and finding your true north and finding your health.
Yeah.
And so then what happened?
Both times my health popped up. When I was too much stubborn on a path too far in to give that up, it was my health again. So I had a car accident. I became addicted. I didn't even know it at the time. I wouldn't have called myself addicted to pain medication, but that was the system at that time in the US, the opioids. To come off those is, it's like coming off the real deal. It's like being a heroin addict. Like, it's crazy. And I went through this, health crisis, and I knew what I needed to do, which was to go raw and to detox and let my spirit be back in my body again. And I had to stop the poisoning. I had to, clean out, stop the inflammation, and begin to receive again. And so I did that. I went raw for 3 months, and then I got myself back. And then I knew it was time for us to move back to Australia. And probably that evolution, the global financial crisis, started at the same time, and we were caught up in that. We bought a house in Vegas that was worth half the amount less than 12 months later. And honestly, as 23-year-olds, we didn't know that could happen. We just didn't know that could happen. And so the lessons there were profound. My husband and I really got to come up with what we call our rice and beans time, our consolidation, that we always have each other. And we came up with the plan that we would always have A, B, and C. And that's where we find our safety, is within and with each other, and that there's always a way when we're committed, that leaders maximize resources. So always coming up with 3 other alternates has served us so well. So we never feel powerless or that there's only one way, the tyranny of the how. When you have lots of options, you always feel that you can move forward and progress. So we moved back to Australia. It was rock bottom and we were just over broke. James went back to work full time, and pretty soon I had 3 kids under 3.5, and my health and pain popped up again because I was still pushing in the wrong direction. And that's when I was introduced to network marketing. And I say wholeheartedly, network marketing saved my life because the nirvana that I was looking for was a safe place to grow and be heard and be held. And in everything else, I was alone. It was me and my husband being the solo entrepreneurs. It was competitive. It wasn't collaborative. It was outcome driven. It was deadline driven. It was stress fueled. It was numbers and linear. The business world can be very masculine if you're not intentional in there. And I didn't want to get caught up on that again. I had a fear of that because my belief was if I go down that rabbit hole again, I might lose my mind again. Which was not a great belief, but.
Well, and there's 2 quotes that I've heard you say that I wrote down. One was add value and there will always be a place for you.
Yeah.
And so there you were spinning and then butting up against pain and anxiety and depression and your body saying no, because you were fighting for an external success that wasn't necessarily feeling like there was value being added. And then leaders maximize their resources and have multiple plans. And so often for so many, network marketing becomes one of those options. Right. I mean, I look at for myself, it became that option that then it could be the stairs to step on to continue to rise and know that while I built my coaching business and really took my online work with women, I knew that the mortgage was covered. Yes. And it became one of those other options to be able to become resourceful. Yeah. And so many women reach out to me saying, I don't know what I want to do. I don't know what my zone of genius is. And it sounds like what I'm hearing from you is listen in, find the true north.
Yeah.
Pay attention to when the anxiety and the body aches and the body is speaking to you. It's speaking to you for a reason.
Yes.
And then getting clarity on what is adding value to me feel like.
Yes. So following the bliss, what is easy? Where does time disappear for you? What would you do if you weren't even paid for it? What has you jumping out of bed? What are those days? What's happening on those days where you are excited and wired and tapped in? Notice, become a student of those moments, those times. Our moments, as Tony says, our moments are shaped in decisions. Life is happening in moments. We only remember moments, and they are the signposts. They're so important. Every memory that we have has an emotion attached to it. And when you can become your own detective of uncovering, what was it about that? Who am I really? It's really that great question of who am I? Without all the labels, without all the expected identities. Who am I really? And I love to play in and teach personalities, especially as women, because it's fun. But I'm convinced that we all have multiple personalities. And just ask your family, right? We present as different characters in different spaces, right? And different times over our day and our life. And, for example, I have Mama Bear. And that helps me transition from, if I'm being the connection queen and I'm in, an hour time block, if I'm being the connection queen, then I can bring my feminine connection energy who just wants to hear about people and be in their story and hear what keeps her up at night and what her true heart's desire is. And like, together we can do this. What if? That's a different role to Mama Bear. because my kids need presence and they need to know that I'm right there and available.
Mm-hmm.
And it's never for long. There has to be full presence, even from toddlers right through to the teenage years now. So I had to learn how to take off a leader of leaders hat or business lady, or, I've got boss lady who's maybe only 5% now. She used to be 95%. It was way too much. But now, I minimized her. I still keep her. But there's a time when she's appropriate and only she is appropriate.
Mm-hmm.
If I feel my voice has been taken or that I've been disrespected, or do you understand what I'm saying? So
yes,
I have multiple personalities that I have curated in business.
Mm-hmm. And you found your bliss. You started allowing yourself to be more in the feminine energy of not necessarily the how, but letting your heart lead the way. And it worked.
Yeah.
But there's still the masculine that shows up when it's needed. And there's still the connector. And there's still the mama there.
Yeah. And I think it's one of the things that I struggled with when I really started learning this work was I was making masculine wrong because I was using an inner masculine energy for large parts of my day. I thought that, that's wrong and that's painful and that doesn't, get me the result. And I didn't know how to dance with it. So masculine energy is equally as important.
Mm-hmm.
And there is where it's most appropriate in the pockets of your life. Yeah. So, if you've got a deadline, if you've got a big goal that you're going for, if someone really needs you to step up and take control, that's when I can get it done.
Yeah.
Now I've formed a more sophisticated version for me, who is the leader of leaders. And it's not masculine or feminine, it's just an energy. So
and that goes back to what you said about the discovery of who am I?
Yeah.
That really the success is around dropping in self-discovery.
Yes, 100%. It's what am I great at? It's knowing your, the shadow self. It's knowing, I'm stubborn. Being stubborn is one of my superpowers. It got me in leaps and bounds. Where is it appropriate? Where is it okay to be stubborn? Where is it causing, ego? Yes. The ego is not our amigo. Where is it causing me pain? Where is it not good for me? Where is it not good for others? And we all have ego. We all have parts of life where we might be stubborn, where we, are slow to apologize, or maybe we don't handle feedback or criticism well, or we've all got our darker side. And I think that the real journey of know thyself is being great with both, that you don't get light without dark. You don't get all positive feeling emotions to make other emotions we don't like that may not be as comfortable. They're just as important. It's all like our GPS system back to self.
And rather than asking, what do I want to do? It's how do I want to feel? And who do I want to be? And
who do I want to be?
Who am I?
That's the one. That's the one. So one of my favorite questions around that is, I don't like to be locked into things. This is my free spirit. So I used to struggle with the calendar because I don't want to commit. What if I don't want to go to spin class on Friday? What if I don't want to, do my reach outs at 11 o'clock on Monday? So I had that false belief of, I have to do that when I show up. No. It's all flexible. Mm-hmm. The feminine loves flexibility. We love flow. We love to get lost in a conversation. Who knows where this conversation is going to go? But I have trust and faith that it's going to be ideal.
Yes.
It's going to be for our higher selves. And what I love about who do I need to be for this part of my day? How do I want to show up for this part of my day? So then I become very intentional. I become, okay, you know what? I've got this meeting. So tomorrow, for example, it's a teaching day. It's storytelling day. So that is very much the connection and communicator. And so it's just being grounded in truth and vulnerability, because I know that when I'm speaking to young upcoming leaders, the most powerful thing I can do with them is just share my stories of navigating each of the pivotal moments, not telling them what to do and how to do it better. Mm-hmm. It's shining the spotlight on their strengths, not trying to shore up weaknesses. It's conversing with them and having them feel safe so they can talk about their fears and open up. And I'm sure you agree, and this is just like your incredible group, Beyond the Red Tent. When women come together and we naturally circle up and we connect, we heal.
Yes.
We don't need coaching. We don't need, half the time it's just the place to feel seen and heard, to unload. And then it's like, I feel better.
Yes.
And then, you know, we've emptied our cup of everything we needed to vent out. And now we can receive again. Now we can, you know, we can move on for the next part.
Mm-hmm. I'm putting on an in-person retreat in June. And that's why there's a space for women to come together.
It just happens. Grace shows up every time.
And how do you, when women say why, it's like, I don't even know where to start to try to explain the quantum exponential transformation that happens when you bring ambitious women together that are just simply there to do their work and see themselves and see one another and rebirth. So then the Heart-Driven Women was birthed. What's the Heart-Driven Women, and what role does that play for you as an entrepreneur?
And you know what, that is a cool story. It's a little woo-woo, but you know, I'm all good for the woo-woo.
Me too.
Yeah, you too.
Yes.
I went on a year-long deep dive journey of, I've always been a seeker, and I knew there was something big unfolding again. And I took the brave step. My self-worth was on the line to literally invest hundreds of thousands of dollars for this year to be part of Tony Robbins' Platinum Group. And I was just drawn to it. I actually had a vision of what, like, you cannot back out, is basically the vision that I got. And I followed through, and it was incredibly pivotal. And there was one moment in, you know, a conference center, it was Whistler, and it was the finance event. And I thought, I'm least interested in that. My husband should go to that. You know, I should just go skiing. And I just have a lot of trust and faith around money. And I just thought, this is going to be my least favorite event. It was the most spiritual. And here's why. We were doing the what is money exercise. What is it to be really rich? What is it to be really, really wealthy? What is it to not have money? And just go on that rant to really just unpack all of your deep subconscious beliefs of what serves you and what wasn't. And I was shaky. In some of the upper things, I was shaky. And I was in a room that had a couple of billionaires in it, like these very successful people. Usually I feel pretty stable, but I was unstable in this room. And I realized I had stories around, I'll be lonely. It's selfish, it's indulgent, and I had all these feelings come up. So my heart was already open. When our heart is open, I believe that's a window to the soul. I believe it's like a gate. And I had a soul healing moment that I wasn't expecting. And one of my beautiful friends who I'd come to know, and I knew that she had had great pain and trauma in her life. We did a few processes together. And she stood up and was talking with Tony, and halfway through, you know, an intervention moment, she said, I was sold 5 times before I was 8. And see how you just kind of went, what did she say? This was a visceral moment. I felt it. And I'm like, hang on, that's my friend. What did she say? And we all felt it. And you could hear a pin drop. It was one of those moments where grace shows up. It's a God moment. I can barely breathe. I can feel it here. And over the next hour, we just got to learn about how money is neutral. It's whatever you make it. It's not good or bad. It's not evil. It's not righteous. It's not any of those. It's just what you make it. And I watched her powerful story sharing for the first time in this public space. And then it turned into raising, you know, millions of dollars in that room in just a few moments towards sex trafficking and Free a Girl and Underground Railroad. And I couldn't work it out because I had not, thankfully, I had not been touched with any sexual abuse in my life. And I felt this unbelievable pull that it's time to do something, Linda, not talk. Talking is finished. You talk contribution. It's time for the feet to start working. And I resisted. I resisted and resisted. And a few full moon nights, I swear to God, the moon kicked me out of bed and I was writing at 3 a.m. The Whispers of the Soul is 3 a.m. like Wayne Dyer talks about. And I just got this incredible download about heart-driven women, what it needed to be called, what the pillars would be, and that it would unfold. And it was so much bigger than me. It was a collaboration. And I am a steward for it. I'm almost like a platform, a shepherdess for it. And yeah, that's what was born. I then saw my friend talk about her heart's desire as she started Free a Girl, which is dedicated to freeing girls from sex slavery. They specialize in a few countries. And something that intrigued me was the problem felt too big for me. It felt too big and too painful. Little girls in cages that are raped many times a day. Like, I couldn't even used to talk about this. I had to go through a few healings. And this is what my friend does every day. And I'm like, I want to get to that place. And so collaborative, there are so many incredible organizations that dedicate their life's purpose to this. So I wanted heart-driven women to be magnetizing women who are ready to contribute more, who have heart, who have resources, and together that collaborative place to co-elevate together and give back and know we're making a difference. The one thing that Evenden did that I thought was so profound was she said $50 can free a child from a cage.
Wow, that gives me chills.
That's like, boom, that landed with me. That was like, what? I can get people. I instantly had this fire rise up and I'm like, I can get beautiful heart-driven women to start speaking into this, and men to start speaking into $50 can change a life. Would you like to be a direct part of rescuing girls from cages? And she collaborates in with a large machine. It's very complex because sometimes the girls are resold. They're delivered back to their family and they're resold 3 weeks later. Because in the cultural belief, it's not good, bad, right and wrong. The cultural belief is that child has, paid for the family to live. That child has been, sold to. It's very complex. There's so many layers in it. It's heartbreaking.
Makes me feel like I'm going to vomit.
Yes, it's very, very dark. And what I got in that moment of Tony bringing it out for us was that there's dark and there's just as much light as the dark. And it's the light filled that will bring the change. And so I learned to partner with the thing that resonates with you. Resonance is one of my favorite words. It literally means the energy of the heart that just, it bypasses the mind. Yeah, and it says this important, pay attention, the goosebumps, the tears is the soul presence. So pay attention to those moments. And yeah, that's where Heart Driven Women was born. We did our first tour in the US. We did a series of events. And what unfolded was miraculous. And I know to expect miracles in exciting and unexpected ways. It's always happening for me. But when they come, they shock you. You're just like, oh, I need to take a breath because I can feel it. I can feel that the work is guided. It's so much bigger than me. And I haven't even worked it out yet. What is it? How does it work? How does it expand? And it's very guided and blessed, and it feels sacred. So,
and what I'm hearing is partner with resonance, that you're along a journey of perpetually figuring out what is the next partnership with the next resonance.
Yes.
And so you've had this spectacular journey of entrepreneurship and network marketing and building an impact or an empire and stories and impact. What's next?
What's next? Oh, I'm in this, it's an unusual phase for me, and I could label it scary. Words have power. I'll label it the realm of uncertainty that's new for me, and I think I'm in a new season and a new chapter, which is how I like to. The realm of uncertainty is where all the magic happens. So one of my favorite quotes that has just kept me pushing up against my comfort zone and leaning more into uncertainty is, it's a Tony Robbins quote, one of my favorite mentors of all time. And he says, the quality of your life is in direct proportion with the amount of uncertainty that you can comfortably live with.
I'm writing that down. The quality of your life is in direct proportion to the uncertainty.
The amount of uncertainty that you can comfortably bear living with. So it's basically saying, be uncomfortable as much as you can bear. And that's where the fruit is. It's out on a limb. It's in the realm of uncertainty. It's surfing the wave of uncertainty in the field, because we're the master creators in our life. Life is happening for us. We are the creators. And seeing it first and knowing. And so I'm in a really beautiful stage. Usually vision is very powerful for me. And right now I'm in this, what's next? I don't know. And I see as soon as I move to control, I go, I'm not going to do that this time.
Yeah.
I'm just receiving and allowing. And my mama bear role at the moment is the most needed, both for me and my beautiful babies who are now young adults. And I can really sense that it's a turbulent time for them. And I need to be more grounded, more present, more love-filled for myself, and giving them more time than I ever have before as they venture through this time.
And how spectacular that you have created along your arc of entrepreneurship, gone through the chapters of self-exploration and growing and bringing tremendous mentorship into your world-class mentors is what I wrote down that you had said. And now you have the time freedom, so to speak.
Yes.
To be with them. And
which is
to take
what
a pause.
I always knew spiritually that I needed that to keep creating. And that was my love of network marketing, is I saw beautiful, ordinary women doing extraordinary things. And I say ordinary with complete honor, that no one is more special. No one is on a pedestal. If she can, we can. And what I saw playing out and magnified so just luminously in network marketing is empowerment for women. I was chasing power in corporate, but it's empowerment and embodiment in the network marketing space, because it's each one teaches one. The minute that your cup is being full, then you have this beautiful responsibility to lift up another lady, lift up another beautiful woman or another young man into, what can unfold for them. It's so much more than money. It's mentoring. It's divine mentoring is, I believe, the biggest gift. I know that's easy for me to say because it's been abundantly financially rewarding for us. But I can honestly say, I will never put that down in my life. I'll always be in the network marketing space because of the gifts of the mentoring, the collaboration, the vulnerability where you can grow and be you. You can be all of you in our space. And that's rare. In fact, I don't even know where that exists anywhere else. I searched a long time.
Yeah. And so for the women that are watching or listening and they're saying, I don't recognize myself in the mirror.
Yeah.
I'm not sure I really know who I am. I'm not sure I really know what I want to do, but I know that right now, this isn't it.
Yes. Oh, I feel that with the younger version of me so much. And was the question, what would I say for them?
Yeah.
And it's really, what would I say for myself? It's staying courageous. It's staying open to listen to your heart's desires and those soul whispers. They're usually at midnight. They're 3 a.m. They're symbols. They're signs. They're prompts. They're the goosebumps. They're the tears that flow unexpectedly. Listen and know thyself. Be a seeker. Continue seeking. If you're in a group like this and you're watching this, you are a seeker and you are on the path. And be gentle and kind with yourself. I remember doing the Wheel of Life, a little assessment, and there was a pivotal moment for me where I realized career, finances, health, it scored them all, at a good solid 6, 7, 8, 9, and happy with that. And then I'd never been asked for the wedge of self-love. It caught me off guard. And when I had to look at self-love and I checked in, I had this huge wave of, oh my God, it's like it too. And I felt so sad. I felt so compassionate for myself. I felt annoyed at myself. I felt a threshold of this has to change. What am I doing? Not this old pattern of I'll be enough. I have to take care of me. And so that was the instigator of the next deep dive of I have more to learn. I have more to experience and unfold. So follow the prompts, follow the people that you resonate with, that it feels like they're speaking to my soul. I was supposed to hear this today. I love this quote. I love how this lady teaches this. I love when this man says this. And keep following those prompts and make sure that they're louder than anything else in your life. They're louder than the expectations. They're louder than the shoulds. They're louder than the external. We can't control any of that. That's not our purpose. Our purpose is to know thyself and keep unfolding and growing you, and you are worth it. And that's where all the magic is. It's not out there. I'll be happy.
I love that what I'm hearing is it's the contradiction it's the whisper that has to be the loudest. Like so often I feel like there's women in my space that they're like, I want this. I'm trying to find clarity, but my life is so full. Like I'm just all the messages and the Facebook and the social media and the emails and the people and the household, and like, where's the space for it? But to be able to say it's in little quiet moments at midnight and 3 a.m. and it's a whisper.
It's beautiful. That's when you're hectic and you're on the loud radio station. So the feminine is not linear. It doesn't have time. So we don't want to be rushed. We don't want a plate full. Responsibility feels crushing to the feminine. When there's too much responsibility, it can cut off your genius. When we're outcome driven, when we're time driven, when we're feeling so stressed and that we're never enough and we've got 100 tabs open, we operate so much better when we are being slow. The feminine is slow and it's in the now and it's whole and it's all of it. And this is where the masculine will lay at our feet, because we can experience it all at once.
Yes.
And when we slow down, we open up different parts of ourselves. And that's the feminine superpower, is that we're open. And we can't be open when we don't feel safe and we feel like we're crushed with overwhelm and responsibility and timelines. And this is where I have women say, yeah, but my plate is full. What I'm saying here is get slow, do a time audit, look at things. I do a time audit, do delegate, dump. My beautiful friend Celine empowered me with this, and I do it every 6 months. Do delegate or dump, and it's very freeing. If only you can do it and it fills your cup and it's part of your domestic duties or your life and you do it, then do it wholeheartedly. Delegate. Whatever doesn't light you up, whatever doesn't, it's not your zone of genius. It doesn't bring you joy. It feels heavy. Delegate. That could be cleaning. That could be the witching hour, for parenting. That could be being a parent rep. Why did you decide to be a parent rep this year? Because it's the right thing to do, because I want to impress people that I don't really care about. No, cancel that right now. And those to me are boundaries. So delegate and then dump, just like the parent thing. I realized that I don't even like this drama and stress. Why am I doing this? The scones are not good enough for me to keep coming back and doing this. So I tick a good mum box. That is not me being a good mum. It doesn't feel good to me. Being a good mum is being present when they get in the car and I'm not on my phone and I just let them be. Cut up the fruit and just see what unfolds,
Yes,
it's different.
Yes. And I am aware of time where we're winding down, but for the person who's listening and says, I know that this is the chatter happening.
Yes.
Easy for you to say, because you have the abundance that you've created. Yes. So for the individuals that's the chatter, that was their response.
And, it's a much longer conversation than our hour, which I've just treasured. I've loved this. And here's what I want to have them think about and feel about. Is your life by design, or is your life reactionary? Is your life full of shoulds and expectations? Where do they come from? Are you happy with them? Do you agree with them in your conscious mind? Compared to being intentional, slowing down, even if it's half an hour a day. Now, I have a busy life. I get it. My slow sometimes is my 10-minute shower, is the non-negotiable. And I just ask myself a series of questions. I tap into myself. I let myself see and feel and think about. I have some empowering questions. I have a few free downloads that are on, my website, lindaevenden.com, a self-care checklist. But I love questions. Quality questions can change your life. What if you could change it? What if it's not about money? What if there is an abundance of time? What if it's just coming up with a new belief for yourself that you have all the time in the world to do what lights you up? And if not now, when?
Yes.
You deserve it, and your family deserve it. I use the family guilt. I reframe that most of the time. I'm far from perfect, and I am subject to guilt and being a martyr. I catch it as much as I can. But a more empowering question is, who do your family want you to show up as? Right. And if there's a gap between how you're showing up, and you can be really courageously honest there, and you can really rumble with yourself and say, I'm stressed out, I'm moaning, I'm yelling, I'm frustrated, I feel not seen and not heard. No one's coming to save you. It is up to you. No one's coming to fix that. Only you can, and you're worth it.
And what I heard is quality questions. Yeah. That the place to start is to convert the scenario and ask quality questions around how do we transform this?
Yes. How did it change? My favorite quality coaching question, and we did a whole talk on it yesterday, is how do you want it to be? Tell me, how do you want it to be? So even when you were having thank you for sharing that, your entrepreneurial growing pains in a situation, all I would ever do as a coach is be present and say, I've been there. I'd share a story and then I'd say, tell me, how do you want it to be? Yes. What's your vision for how you would like that to be? So next time, we can fix and refine, we can make a few adjustments. How do you want it to be? How do you want to show up in that space? And what would you have to know? What would you have to release? What would you have to let go of to make that happen? And we can always adjust.
I love it. I'm reading the book right now, The Having by...
what is it? I don't know that. That sounds great.
Soo-Yoon Lee is the author. Okay. And it's kind of this. It's the energy of dropping into the energy of being grateful for the having right now. And anyway, I could continue to talk to you for hours. I look forward to one day when we're by the poolside or at the beach with a nice drink and our cute bathing suits, because we're going to look so hot. And to continue this. And for now, I really, really, really honor your time. So anything else, any parting thoughts? Obviously, her website is there in the description, in the show notes. Go there, start there if you're leaning in and going, oh my gosh, I want more of this. Just like what I heard from you, Linda.
Beautiful.
When you have those moments where you hear from someone and they say something and you feel it.
Yeah.
Linda and I could read the same exact quote. Yes. And everyone here who is listening, we're having an energetic exchange. And you hear a totally different thing and you feel a totally different thing. So if you're dropping in and this resonates, click on our link and continue that journey. And any last parting thoughts or words?
What just came to me is follow your bliss. It's always free. Those bliss moments are not about the money. They're not about the time. I want you to really think about the most beautiful moments in life where you felt guided and blessed, where time disappeared. And be the observer of what is your bliss. That's the clue. That's the heart song. And that's the gateway to the soul. And that's where you find your purpose, your mission, your path. And always keep fixing and refining, because, of course, we're going to get off path. Contrast is needed to direct us back to the light. We need the dark as much as the light. So there'll always be distractions. There'll always be challenges. And it's all about growing you. Stay and leaning into the uncertainty. And your heart always knows the way. Your heart always knows the way. Listen to your heart.
Thank you. And it's a good reminder for me. I'm so grateful to have been here and have this time with you. And I take it in for my own well-being.
Beautiful. Thank you for having me. This has been delightful.
Absolutely, as my children would say.
Thank you for listening to the Woman's Vibrancy Code. Connect with us and take the first step to transforming your energy, hormones, and libido at thewomansvibrancycode.com. Cheers to your zest and vitality. Make sure to follow for weekly power-packed value.